Thank you for joining me for another wow moment, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. I was thinking, guys, life is a series of questions and conversations. The ones that you have with yourself and the ones that show up in and around your life. So I wanted to ask you, are you having those conversations? Are you asking those questions? How are they showing up in and around your life? Is it making a difference? Is it changing how you show up in your life? You know, you can tell a lot about somebody by the questions you ask and the conversations you have. Case in point, this morning I was on my meditation walk, going to get my cup of joe. Meditation and a cup of joe go a long way with this girl right here. And a gentleman who lives in my district, who I normally exchange good morning pleasantries with, this morning we actually engaged in a conversation. What I took away from that conversation by the things he said and the questions I asked and the ones that he volunteered was simply this. His life is the sum of a series of events, experiences, and conversations that belong to him and stories and conversations that others shared with him. Case in point. He spilled unforgiveness out of his heart that stemmed from conversations that he had from a man that he met when he was 30 years old. But this man shared stories about his living. He's 100 years old. And he shared stories about the community we live in. And from his experiences, my neighbor had hate and unforgiveness from somebody else's experiences. And my eyes got big because it intrigued me. So I asked a series of questions. I said, neighbor, what do you feel about the community that you live in? And he shared with me. But what he shared had nothing to do with his own personal experiences and everything to do with what he heard other people say in their conversation. So again, I asked him, you're leaving this community has everything to do with what other people have said to you. What do you believe about this community yourself? And I found something when I walked away from that conversation, that we often have debates within our own self. The ancients called it the mitote, M-I-T-O-T-E. Those are conversations that you have in your own head, where you might say, consciously, I want a successful life, but in your subconscious thinking, you're always thinking the man is out to get you. And your subconscious conversation is more dominant than your conscious conversation. You understand what I'm saying, guys? Are you following? The conversations that I now have and the questions that I now ask at 51 plus is totally different than the conversations I had and the questions I asked when I was 12, when I was 20, when I was 30, even last year. On a YouTube channel called the Essence and Jenna YouTube show, there's a segment where it says, Awesome Autumn asks why. And it's 10 minutes of Autumn saying, where are the clouds moving? Why is the sky blue? Why is it so noisy? Why is it lines on the street? She's just, why? And though it may seem annoying to some, it's very good that she's inquisitive. Because in our forward motion and movement and growing, we need to ask ourselves some questions. We need to have some conversation. And then, upon those questions and conversations, we are inspired and motivated, hopefully empowered, to come up with a course of action and a plan and to move out on that. I asked someone, I said, in this season you're in, if you were to name it and give it a chapter name, what would it be? Someone said question. At first I said season. Then I said chapters. Then I said lessons learned or series of events. But now, do you know what I would dub it? Conversations that I had with myself and others. That's what I would call it. Life is a series of conversations. Amidst this pandemic, questions were asked and conversations were had, and they still are. Well, this has been another wow moment, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please, wherever you are in your life, continue to have conversations about life. They really are worth having. Until next time, you take good care.